What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of The Block is Hot. Now, I know today is Sunday and not Saturday, but I didn't have enough time to get this week's CNFT market review done, so I figured why not get it done today. So in this video, I'm going to be going over the top 10 movers of this week in the CNFT world, and I'm also going to be going over some different projects that I think are at key resistance or support levels. But without further ado, let's get into it. All right, project number one, guys, that has been popping off this week is Boss Planet. Now, Boss Planet has had over 2.3 million ADA worth of volume this week alone, and the price has been going all over the place. Right now, Boss Planet has an ADA floor of 540, which is pretty insane. It's insane because just a couple hours ago, the land was going for only 400 ADA. Just an hour ago, look at all of these sales in that 400 ADA range. A lot of people started coming in at this price range and started to absolutely sweep this floor, and now we're back up to 540, which is pretty much where we started when this land was first released. It looks like 400 ADA was a very big support level for this project, and it looks like a lot of people were comfortable buying in that 400 to 500 price range. Right now, I missed my opportunity once again, and I am personally taking a step back from this. We'll see if we go from 540 back down to 500, or if we can get a push up to 600. I personally don't like trading any NFTs when they're in this in-between phase. Like 540 is a pretty weird number. A lot of times people like solid numbers, 500, 600, 400. That's when you most of the time will get either a ton of support or a ton of resistance, and I like to trade at those different levels and see which way it's breaking out. The second project on our list today with 1.7 million ADA worth of volume is Pavia. Now, you guys know I love Pavia, and this is a crazy amount of volume that continually goes into this project. So much volume that they actually surpassed Spacebudz as the #1 CNFT project as far as overall volume goes, so big shout out to the team at Pavia. Pavia went all the way back down to 400 ADA floor this week, which is absolutely insane to me. It had risen all the way to 480, it got stopped at about 500, and now we're back at this 400 ADA range. I personally think this is a really good buy, and I was complaining that I didn't buy enough Pavia when it was previously at this price. So I just bought 5 more pieces of land at around that 400 range. Now we could potentially drop down to 380, 370, which is where we had floored last time, but I'm personally a big believer in this project and what they're gonna do, and I don't think there's gonna be that many opportunities to buy this land at this price. The next project on our list is Cornucopias with 1.3 million ADA worth of volume. Now this is insane, guys. They actually hit 1 million ADA worth of volume within the first 24 hours of the secondary market, and actually broke all-time records for any CNFT project, which is pretty insane. I've made a whole entire video going over Cornucopias and why I'm so bullish on this project. I personally think that this is going to be one of the top metaverses on Cardano, and they are doing an incredible job. I really think it's going to be between Pavia, Boss Planet, and Cornucopias. Now, these bubble jets are going to be extremely important in the game, and I believe that these bubble jets are probably going to have a lot of big whitelisting opportunities when they start to come out with the land and the other aspects of the game. The price of the commons are going for about 170, which is still a dub, even if you got the worst one when you minted for 120. I got pretty lucky, guys, and I was actually able to mint 15 of these for about 120 ADA each, and I actually got pretty lucky as far as what I had gotten. Now, I didn't get any legendaries or mythics, but I actually got a lot of rares. So I think the total of this was 6 rares, 6 uncommons, and 3 commons, and I have not sold a single one. I'm personally bullish on this project in the long term, even though I'm not exactly sure where price is going to go in the short term. I personally didn't believe that we would see under 200 ADA for these bubble jets. Now, I know the game is pretty far out, but I'm kind of surprised that that happened. I didn't really think that we would break below that. So what I would do if I were you guys and you were interested in this project is just be a little hands off right now. We are in the price discovery phase. These were expensive at 120 ADA, and there were 12,000 of these produced. So I personally think that taking a little step back and seeing where we truly bottom is the best situation. If we hadn't broke below 200, I would have said something else, but because we did, I would be a little bit careful buying in right now. We could potentially see 150 for these commons. We could even go down to 100 if people get very bearish and there isn't a lot of hype going on or not a lot of things are being announced. However, personally, I think that everyone should look into buying some of these when the price goes down a little bit more, if it does, just because I think that this is an incredible long-term investment. And like I said earlier, the 15 that I got, I'm personally holding because I believe in this team and I believe in what they're doing. Coming in at number 4 and 5, and pretty much always coming in the top 5, is Boss Cat Rocket Club and their parts. Now these cats have an incredible support level at 2000 ADA. I kept thinking that they would break below that and maybe go to 1600 to 1800, but there has just been an incredible amount of support at this 2000 ADA level, and it doesn't seem that people want it to go below that. If you ever can scoop one up about 2000 ADA, I think it's a decent buy. Now, I personally think that these might be devalued later in the month when the Vox cats come out, just because they have more utility, but for the most part, like, people do not want these cats to go below 2000. And the same thing goes for these rocket parts. It will not go below 4,000. It's absolutely insane. Even though they had a big drop off after the Boss Planet whitelisting, these have still been maintaining a value over 4,000, which I really didn't think would happen. Now, I know that these parts have a big impact on your whitelisting for Vox Cats, so I'm guessing that's why people are buying them, but I personally think that buying Boss Planet is a better buy. I think the Boss Planet properties are going to have a lot more utility when this game and this metaverse comes out, and I think it's going to reward you a lot more than simply owning these different cats or parts. And I also think that the Vox Cats are going to be so much more important than the traditional cats that are already out, just because they are going to be in the game and they're going to fly and all of that sort of stuff. So personally, I'm not investing in any of this stuff right now. Maybe I'll buy some Boss Planet if it dips down again, knowing that this time that 400 ADA support level is very, very solid. Next on our list is ADA Ape Society with 682,000 ADA worth of volume, and they just recently passed Chilled Kongs as far as overall volume goes. The Ape Society is at a 380 ADA floor, and it literally hasn't moved from that. I swear, guys, I've been looking at this like almost every single day, and it is always 380. I don't know how this is possible, but it seems like the ultimate support and resistance levels are at 380 ADA for these guys. Now, I actually really like this project. They buffed up their website, and they're actually having their own token coming out soon called Society, and there's going to be a lot of different things that you can do with this token in the metaverse that they're creating. One of the biggest things that I like about this project is that they have classes and perks, which I think is super, super cool. So for example, if your monkey is a merchant, maybe you get some revenue share from all these non-frame items in this metaverse. Maybe you get more money when you're staking. If your monkey is a king, well, maybe you get 1% of all rewards. Maybe you're a part of an exclusive group, right? Like, it's just really cool how they're doing this, and I like the concept of that. I feel like so many projects will have these super rare traits, but they don't really provide you anything special. So what's cool with the Ape Society is that these different rare traits and rare monkeys you get are actually going to have different benefits and perks in the game that they make. I really love it, and I think that this is going to go up a lot over time simply because they just passed Chilled Kongs as far as overall volume goes, yet they're 380 versus like 600 to 700. So I think that these are actually probably undervalued right now, and I don't think buying for the long-term hold is a bad move here. Coming in at number 7, we have Jarheads with 621,000 ADA worth of volume. Now, this is a project that just released this past week, and it has been absolutely blowing up. What's interesting about this project, guys, is that it's just art. It's no tokens, it's no nothing else, and the dude behind it, Jar, is super cool and super humble. There's this dude called Cardano Thor that makes some videos, and he interviewed this guy, and I love the interview. The dude is so cool, and I personally bought a couple of these. I think that this is one of these projects that is just going to do exceptionally well in the long term, and I don't really know what to tell you guys. Right? I don't really know how to explain it to you. This is just a feeling I have. The art just stands out to me. The story stands out to me. And I really think this is something that is here to stay. I don't think that this is just a hype and FOMO thing where these are just going to crash and people are going to forget about them. I think that the people that are buying these are really holding them for the art and really love what they're getting into. 380 ADA is a lot, and I personally say don't buy into the hype and wait for things to dip, but these had rose all the way to 600, went all the way back down to 300, and are now on the way back to 400. Only buy this if you are a long-term minded person, and I personally bought 2 or 3 of these just because I do think in the future these are going to do exceptionally well, and that the potential of these is way higher than any risk you could have on them. Spacebudz is of course in the top 10, even though recently they haven't had a ton of ADA worth of volume. They're sitting at about 6,500 ADA, which isn't too bad. If you're buying a Spacebud, you really shouldn't care too much about the short-term movements. If you buy a Spacebud, you should really think, hey, I'm going to hold this for 5 years and maybe it turns into a CryptoPunk, right? And is worth over $100,000. So I'm not really going to try to predict the short term with this. Who knows, guys? If you don't buy a Spacebud if you're trying to, make these short swings. Buy a Spacebud if you're wanting to hold it for the long term and see it through. Coming in at number 9, we have another new project called Smooth Yeti Mountain Club, and they have had almost 400,000 ADA worth of volume in their first week alone. Smooth Yeti Mountain Club currently has a floor of about 53 ADA, and it has had a tremendous amount of support at the 50 ADA range. Now, I personally really like this project in both the short and long term. I think they're doing a lot. I don't think a lot of people know about these yet. I think the art looks good. I think the website looks amazing. Everything is cleanly laid out. They have different drops happening in the future, and they also have a Yeti verse towards the end of the year. I really like these guys. I have bought a decent amount, and I think getting in or around this price is probably going to be a pretty good buy. Like I said earlier, we haven't really dipped below this 50 ADA too much. When they first came out, they were 25 ADA, and a lot of people were selling them between 30 and 40 ADA, but after the first day or two, we really haven't seen it drop below this 50 ADA price. I think that we could, in the short term, see a big pump with these as more people catch on, and we could get all the way to 100 ADA, which would be the next big resistance level for this project. If we do see that pump up all the way to 100 ADA, then I think that that would be a decent time to take profits if you are a short-term investor, just because that is a huge number for projects to get past. However, I think that most of the ones I'm just holding for the long term because this project really is screaming out to me. The last big mover on this list today, guys, is Mandrillz, which just released yesterday and has had over 336,000 ADA worth of volume already. The floor price for Mandrillz is currently 58 ADA, which is pretty much near the mint price. I believe the mint price for these guys was 50 ADA, and we're only 10 ADA above that, so it would be a loss in the short term if you minted this and got, one of the more common ones. I personally was able to mint about 12 of these guys, and I personally think the artwork just looks insane. Like, what art project on Cardano really looks this good as far as different layers and colors and trippiness all piled into this package of an ape project? We could see us go a little bit lower to about 50 ADA, but I kind of doubt it. I think this 60 ADA is probably a pretty strong floor. Now, I want to mention one thing to everyone here. If you are someone that is buying everything to quick flip it, you have to be a little bit more picky with your game plan. So there are so many people that are getting into these CNFTs to quick flip right now, and there are a lot more short-term flippers than there are long-term buyers, which means that you have to be very, very, very picky as far as what projects you go for. Now, if you're going to quick flip, which I had recommended to people in my Discord to do for this project, so make sure you join the Discord because we've been providing a lot of information in there. But if you're going to quick flip, you really want to do it within the first couple hours of this project being released. So for example, this project came out and they said they sold out. If you were able to get into the whitelist, that is the time to now sell because FOMO is going to be at its highest. Then I would sell it. Sometimes it might run up way, way, way higher and you would have been better off waiting. But the majority of times you're going to want to quick flip it in that situation if you did get it early. And if you were one of the first people to get their mint in the public sale, you're going to want to also sell that pretty quickly. Usually the most hype and the most FOMO is within the first, hour to 3 hours of it being sold out. And that is the time to quick flip. If you do not sell within that time range, I personally think you have missed your opportunity and now you have to be a long-term holder. All these people selling at 60 are literally going to take a loss on their investment. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. At this point, it is much better to hold it for the long term and wait for some of these ones at the floor to be bought up. But yeah, just like a little FYI to everyone there, if you are trying to quick flip right now specifically, you got to be a lot more picky and you got to do it a lot faster than you have been, because if you wait more than 5-6 hours, you are literally shooting yourself in the foot when it comes to profit. Now that we've gone over the top 10 list, I just want to do a few hot takes about a couple projects that released this month and where I think they're going. So Anatomy released, and I was pretty bullish on Anatomy, to be honest with you guys, and it was a 40 ADA mint price, and it had jumped all the way to 80 ADA. Now, I don't think that people are really fond of the way these guys look. It was a little bit iffy. We really didn't see too much of the art before they did this mint. Now, I would probably stay away from this project for now. We have no idea where this is going to go. It keeps dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping. So in my opinion, there is just a lot of people trying to sell this and not a lot of people buying them. So I would probably stay away from this project. Now, the next thing that I want to bring up is Moonimals. This was another project that is actually below mint right now, but I think that is actually going to perform pretty well in the future. We're about 40 ADA. We haven't really gone too much below that. We were in the 30s for a little bit, but there was a lot of support there. So if you can buy for anything under 40, I think that's a pretty good buy. If you can get it around 40, I think that's a pretty solid buy as well. They just announced a lot of information about their serum today and how that works. And basically that's going to come out in Q3, I believe. And I think that's going to bring a lot more hype in the future. So the fact that you can get this below mint right now and hopefully capitalize on that added hype in the future, I think that this wouldn't be, that bad of a long-term play. Now, Lazy Llamas just released their serum today. So people are going to be able to mutate these guys. We actually had a run up all the way to about 470, 480 ADA, and I was trying to sell it before the hype. I think that we could potentially see a dip now that, everyone is able to mutate them. Maybe these Lazy Llamas take a little bit of a dip. If we, for whatever reason, go down to about 350 or 300, then that would be a pretty good buy-in price in my opinion, just because I am really bullish on this project, and I think that the community behind this and what the team is doing is pretty impressive. But yeah, keeping a big eye on these guys. I do think that we'll probably break below this 400 ADA just because there was just too much hype with these serums, but we'll see what happens with that. When it comes to Darkbudz, I'm glad I told everyone to pass on this. This was kind of like a rug pulley thing. I don't think that these really look that good, and they didn't really showcase their art beforehand. The whole concept of this is that it's supposed to be Darkbudz, but these don't really look that dark to me. Maybe this one, but a lot of them have these, high colorful pastels. So personally, in my opinion, I would avoid this project and, not really mess with it. Benjamin's Group is another project that has been blowing up this past week and has a 410 ADA floor. Now, what's going to happen specifically with these guys is that they're about to hatch soon, and you're going to see what's in your egg. So this could be a positive or a negative, but there is a ton of hype with this. So I don't know if the hype is already super priced in at this 400 ADA range, or once these hatch, if things are just going to go crazy and they're going to go absolutely stupid. But keep an eye on this project. It's interesting. I personally bought one around, 360 or 380 ADA just so I could capitalize on these gains if there was just a tremendous amount of hype and FOMO when these hatch. But don't go too crazy just because it is a little speculative. Like, it might be, it might be a disappointment when they hatch, or it might be super cool. It's a little risky for me to, go balls deep in this one. Lastly, I wanted to finish up with Fudbuddies that just released today. It released like 3 or 4 hours ago, and they're about 85 ADA. They were a 50 ADA mint price. Now, I'm personally thinking that this is a good quick flip, and I think that the hype is probably going to die down on these in the long term. They don't really have a roadmap, and it doesn't seem like they're really doing much, and the artist that was behind this project was the artist behind a couple other projects, and none of those projects are really doing that well or have added utility. So I personally think that if you're one of the lucky people to get into this right away, that I would take that quick flip and I would get out of here. I don't think that this is a long-term investment, and once again, this is one of those projects that you just sell within the first couple hours if you're able to be one of the first ones that get them. Now, the risk is if you're not one of the first ones and you're one of the last ones, that's when you can really take an L, and that's why I'm personally being a lot more careful with what I'm minting as time goes on, just because there are such an extreme amount of short-term sellers in the market. I wanted to add what I purchased this week at the end of these different market update videos, just so you guys can get a better idea. Now, I also have a spreadsheet in the description of like my 1000 ADA challenge wallet, but that doesn't necessarily show everything. So I'm going to be going over that every single week in this video, and I also commonly post that in my Discord, so make sure you join that Discord community that is in the description. But yes, basically this week, I was able to mint 12 of these Mandrillz for about 50 ADA each. I actually got lucky, and one of them is a top 500 rare. I actually think I have him listed right now for like 250 or 300 ADA. He's like the one guy I listed just in case, you know, someone pays for that and, you know, covers the rest of my expenses. I also bought another couple plots of Pavia. I bought 3 more just at that 400 ADA range. I'm personally very bullish on this project. I bought 1 hash Guardian this week for about 40 ADA. I really think that when this game comes out that it's going to be pretty cool to have one of these guys, and you're going to get tokens and weapons and all this stuff. So I was like, why not, you know, have one of these guys? I'll be able to play the game and really, you know, see what's up with it. I also bought an estate from Unbounded Earth for 500 ADA. Now, if you look at Unbounded Earth, each plot of land is 60. So you were able to get 9 of these for 500. So 60 times 9 is 540. So I was like, hey, you know, even if I sold them right now after fees, I'd at least break even. And in this situation, at least I have an estate for the future, which may have a lot of value. Unbounded Earth is a metaverse project that has recently been blowing up, and I really think has been gaining a lot of traction. A lot of people really like this project. So I was like, you know, let me buy an estate. I also got a Moonimal recently. This was just a snipe. You know, someone listed a pretty rare one or a more rare one for a less than what they should have. This Pavia stone that I got this week was literally an airdrop, a free 1000 ADA airdrop, which is pretty sick. I don't know how I got that lucky and got that one. I also minted 15 of these bubble jets. There's different strategies that I might make a video on to show you guys how I was able to get so many for 120 ADA each, but this was a pretty big dub. I think even at current prices, I made like over 2,000 profit if I sold these guys right now. The last thing I did buy this week was that I did buy this Eggvolution, which is in Benjamin's group. I bought one for around like 360 or 380 ADA, just in case that when these do hatch, you know, to take profit if these just go absolutely crazy and the art blows people away. I tried minting Fudbuddies 2 today, but who knows if that transaction actually went through. I know I'm missing my money, but I don't know if I was fast enough. If I do get that, depending on the price, I'm just going to quick flip it. Like, I really want to quick flip it, but sometimes you get really unlucky and you're one of the last people to get yours, and then all of a sudden, you know, it's going below mint. So we'll see what happens there. I really didn't want to go too hard on that project just because they really aren't offering much utility at all. That pretty much sums up today's video though, guys. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up and let me know whether or not I need to keep making this sort of content. This is just my opinions, right? And I hope that this is helping people, but if it's not really providing a lot of value to you guys, then, you know, I'll probably just start making something else. So if I get a ton of likes on this, I at least know, hey, I'm in the right direction with the different content I'm posting. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to follow the Twitter and make sure to join our Discord community where we're all helping each other out with this sort of stuff and talking about projects in an unbiased way. And I hope everyone here has an awesome day.